This is News 8 Now, This Morning.
I have seen him struggle, and I know that he, regardless of whatever sentence you give him, he has a life sentence that he has to live with, seeing his friend die in front of him. And so I just ask that you take that into consideration.
The margin between our blood supply and the demand for blood is so narrow that on any given day we can really struggle to find blood for the people who need it.
I've had the blessing to watch him work very hard and just honestly pray him through it and wait on the Lord, and God has really done huge things with him.
Good morning, everyone. That was your morning eye opener. I'm Sophia Pullman.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Tuesday, June 6th. We had a really hot Monday, kind of hazy though. Right now, it's not looking as hazy.
No, it's not looking as hazy. There are no air quality alerts right now, which is good news. However, we are tracking some showers and some thunderstorms here this morning across portions of the area, and it's very hit and miss. So you're probably like, well, it's not hitting my house right now. Yeah, of course not. It's very isolated here, and that's why we are only tracking just a few of them here this morning. Areas such as Monroe County, Wood County, and also down towards Winneshiek County, as you can see there on the radar, are all moving their way towards the south here this morning. So not everybody is going to be affected by this, but if you're in northern Vernon County, watch out for some showers and thunderstorms that will affect you. And looks like as we head in towards Adam and Juneau County, you may run into some light showers, especially on the northern sides of the county. But here's a look at the current temperatures as you head out the door, mainly in the 60s. Temperatures are just shy of 70 in La Crosse. They've come down a little bit there. 65 in Eau Claire, 68 in Winona, and 63 in Sparta. So here's a look at the overall planner. Most of us looking mostly cloudy with just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm today, with highs mainly into the upper 70s and low 80s. Allergy report shows that the grass and the pine are high as far as those symptom index levels. The wheat is low, and we have the same forecast in store for tomorrow. These high allergy symptoms will continue, unfortunately, until we get some beneficial rains around here. Stay tuned. I'll let you know if we have any more rain chances coming up in the forecast in just a few minutes. Sophia?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. An 18-year-old La Crosse man was sentenced to 8 years in prison for his involvement in a shooting. Jackson Greengrass faced multiple charges, including attempted first-degree intentional homicide and felony murder in a shooting last year that killed 15-year-old Storm Vondrashek. The defense and prosecution negotiated a joint agreement for Greengrass's sentencing. Prosecutors stated Greengrass has had a problematic juvenile history and recommends 8 years in prison. 5 of those years would be under supervision. Vondrashek's mother spoke at the sentence.
I have seen him struggle, and I know that he, regardless of whatever sentence you give him, he has a life sentence that he has to live with, seeing his friend die in front of him. And so I just ask that you take that into consideration.
Judge Gloria Doyle says she hopes Greengrass realizes the consequences of his actions. Under this sentence, Doyle says Greengrass will have an opportunity to live his life and make better decisions. Police shot and killed a corrections officer in western Wisconsin whom they say was threatening them when they responded to a domestic violence call over the weekend. Mariel Mose has more from New Richmond.
Everybody's on edge a little bit.
It may look like a typical Monday morning in downtown New Richmond, Wisconsin, but a shooting over the weekend that killed a 42-year-old father of 2 was top of most people's minds.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Investigators say Tyler Abel was shot and killed Saturday night in Star Prairie, just north of New Richmond. Abel's wife called police saying he was making threats about getting out his assault rifle. When law enforcement got there, Abel was inside with his 2 kids and threatened officers. He eventually came out and confronted officers with a gun. A New Richmond officer and a St. Croix deputy fired at Abel, killing him.
I was just at home with my kids and I just heard a bunch of sirens.
Chad Constantino lives just up the road from where this shooting happened. After 3 Wisconsin law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty in just the past 2 months, he feels for these officers who are put in a tough situation.
I think that's why the police are taking extra precautions right now for people who are waving around guns in our community. You know, they're going to protect themselves, and I think they have the right to.
Scott Martell says he's worried about irresponsible gun ownership in his community.
You know, I'm not anti-gun as far as hunters go, but you know, the AK-47s, that's kind of nonsense. And hopefully it doesn't happen again, but unfortunately it probably will.
The St. Croix deputy and New Richmond officer who fired their weapons are on leave while the Polk County Sheriff's Office investigates the shooting. Now more than ever, blood donation numbers are dropping. Experts at Gunderson Health System say the amount of donors has continued to dwindle. About a quarter of the nation's donors are college or high school students who donate at local blood drives during the school year. With school out of session, new donors are needed.
The margin between our blood supply and the demand for blood is so narrow that on any given day we can really struggle to find blood for the people who need it.
Ready?
Dr. Botner added if this shortage continues, they may have to cancel surgeries, which require a lot of blood to complete. Now that school is out for most of our area, many families must face the reality of summer hunger. 5 out of 6 kids who depend on free or reduced price meals at school no longer have access to that daily nutrition. To help provide food to families in the Cooley region, the Dahl Family YMCA in La Crosse began its annual summer food drive.
We recognize that in summer there is that, that hunger gap for some kiddos. 1 in 5 kids does not know where their next meal is coming from, and so with school being out, that is quite the concern of ours. So we want to make sure that we're getting out to all the places in the community.
Grab and go lunches will be available, including sandwiches and fruit for until August 23rd. Veterans Affairs Secretary Dennis McDonough and Representative Derek Van Orden talked veterans issues at a news conference in Tomah. One topic was what the recently signed debt ceiling deal means for veterans. One part of the package is the Toxic Exposure Fund. That's money dedicated to veterans who were exposed to toxic substances or environmental hazards. Also today, McDonough thanked Wisconsin Congress members for pressing on the VA on veteran misdiagnosis.
I thank him and I thank Senator Baldwin for holding us to account on the issue around CMP exams and quality of care more generally here at the Tomah facility.
McDonough said Mary Jo Lanska, the doctor responsible for multiple misdiagnoses, no longer works at the VA. Van Orden said the number of misdiagnoses were so large he believes it is a systematic issue. Up in Eau Claire, there's a new chief in town. Matt Jager was officially sworn in as fire chief at a ceremony. Jager says the ceremony was emotional and he was touched by the support of staff and community. He has served as a firefighter for nearly 25 years. He says he is inspired by the chiefs before him and hopes to continue their mission.
I'm looking to lead with courage and compassion and integrity and honesty, and I hope that they will support me and follow my leadership.
Jager's wife and kids also joined him for the ceremony. He says having kids alongside him throughout his career was special. Jager's wife, Christina, says she's thankful and proud.
I've had the blessing to watch him work very hard and just honestly pray him through it and wait on the Lord, and God has really done huge things with him.
Jager says he's excited to get started as he steps into his new role. He says he plans to meet with other community leaders to figure out how they can best accomplish their goals. Due to the flooding closure of Pettibone Park, the City of La Crosse's Mississippi Melodies series for the month of June is moving to the Riverside Park Bandshell. The concert series runs every Tuesday from noon to 1 p.m. The Chili Revolution food truck will be available before the music starts. Today's concert will feature Grumpy Old Men. For more information, you can go to cityoflacrosse.org/parks. We'll post a link on news8000.com. Still ahead on your morning news, Apple announces some new features and technology at the annual Developers Conference. And the TSA is trying out using facial recognition to speed up the security lines in airports. That and more coming up this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. 4 McKinley High graduates reconnected at a nursing home more than 75 years later. When one of the women arrived at Old Jefferson Community Care Center, she recognized one of her classmates from McKinley High back in 1944. The pair later found other women who graduated in the same class and a year after. They reminisced on great memories of their time at the school. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning after the break.
Good morning, everyone. We are tracking showers and a few thunderstorms this morning across portions of the Coulee region. As we zoom in a little bit closer to home, you can see areas like Monroe County and also down south into Winneshiek County. Well, it's exited U here, but we're still watching some of those showers and storms near Monroe County, moving their way into Vernon County, and also near the Wisconsin Rapids here around eastern Wood County this morning, also dealing with some showers and thunderstorms. But a lot of us are just dealing with mostly cloudy skies, which will continue here for your dog walking conditions, also into the afternoon and through the early evening. So current temperatures right now as you head out the door are into the 60s, 68 in Winona, 65 in Eau Claire, 69 in La Crosse, 63 in Sparta, and in Viroqua, you're currently at 68 degrees. Let's get checked now on your zone forecast today. La Crosse County, our high temperatures today will be into the low 80s. I'm expecting a high of 82 in Minduro, 83 in Berry Mills, 80 today in Middle Ridge, and highs will be into the low 80s across much of our southern communities with a high of 80 today in Prairie du Chien, 81 in Arcadia, 82 Winona, 81 Whitehall, 79 in Osseo, and as we head north, highs will be into the low 80s in the Chippewa Valley here today. Your backyard forecast today, if you have any plans to be poolside, we are going to be looking at a high of 83 degrees overall, mostly cloudy skies, but I'll be back with a check on your full weather forecast to let you know if we have more upcoming rain chances in the near future.
In your consumer news this morning, Apple has announced new gadgets and features at the 2023 Worldwide Developers Conference. In addition to the new mixed reality headset called the Apple Vision Pro, the tech giant has unveiled new MacBooks, including a 15-inch MacBook Air. It also introduced new features for the iPhone, including a new caller ID and a new feature called Check-in, which notifies selected contacts when a user reaches an intended destination. If you're a fan of fresh Georgia peaches, you may be out of luck this season. The peach state has lost over 90% of this year's crop. Crops like peaches require a certain number of chill hours, ranging between 32 degrees and 45 degrees. This year, the state did not have enough cold hours for many varieties that were planted. A second issue occurred in March during a freeze, which destroyed a number of the early flowers. A delivery of supplies and experiments is on its way to the International Space Station. A SpaceX rocket lifted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The Dragon spacecraft is expected to dock with the space station today. Among the cargo on board is a set of solar panels, which will be installed in a series of spacewalks, plus 6 CubeSats, or tiny satellites, are headed to the ISS for a cybersecurity challenge backed by the Air Force and Space Force. As the high travel season heats up, airline passengers may encounter new technology at the security line in more than a dozen airports across the country. A digital identification program that uses facial recognition. Chris Van Cleve takes a look.
Good morning.
At the world's busiest airport in Atlanta,
all right, you're fully verified.
The TSA checkpoint has gotten a high-tech upgrade.
You're going to take your ID, insert it into the card reader.
Using this facial recognition camera system to compare a flyer's face to their picture on their ID in seconds.
All right, ma'am, you're verified. Thank you very much. You can step around.
If there's not a match, like here in this demonstration, the TSA officer is alerted for further review.
It's showing that the ID is a valid ID. It's showing non-match because those are two different people.
We view this as better for security, much more efficient because the image capture is fast.
TSA Administrator David Pekoski.
How does that speed things up?
Well, facial recognition first and foremost is much more accurate, and we've tested this extensively. It brings the accuracy level close to 100% from like mid 80% with just a human looking at a facial match.
The program has been rolled out to more than 24 airports nationwide since 2020, but is currently voluntary for flyers. Most images are deleted after use, but some information is encrypted and retained for up to 24 months as part of the ongoing review of how the technology performs. There are skeptics. 5 U.S. senators sent this letter demanding TSA halt the program.
You don't have to compromise people's biometric security in order to provide physical security at airports.
And privacy advocates worry about the lack of regulations around facial recognition and its tendency to be less accurate with people of color. You have 5 senators that have called on TSA to stop the program. Why continue moving forward with it?
I agree with them in that I want to protect privacy for every passenger, and I want to deploy technology that's accurate and doesn't disadvantage anybody.
As for passengers opting to use it,
this is a lot quicker way to get through.
Got nothing to hide. So no concerns here. I think it's great.
TSA plans to add the technology to at least 3 more airports by the end of the year.
That's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Derek in today's forecast.
All right, thanks for that, Sophia. We are tracking some showers and thunderstorms across portions of the Cooley region now. And as you can see across portions of Monroe County, we are watching some scattered showers and a few rumbles of thunder that are currently moving through areas like Tomah, Wells, and just near the Wilton area. Also not too far away from the Cashton area. You're looking at some brief heavy downpours. Heavy downpours here on radar from Seneca and also near Siegel, Wisconsin Rapids around eastern Wood County here this morning as well. The rest of us are just looking at mainly cloudy skies, but those showers and storms continue to feed off of this frontal boundary that is currently positioned just around us, so just south of the Cooley region rather. And as long as that frontal boundary is nearly stationary and in place, we got that convergence going on, and that could lead to some more shower and thunderstorm development. But again, really the rest of us just looking at mainly cloudy skies here as you head out the door, with temperatures warming up into the low 80s by noon, followed by 83 at 4 p.m. here today. So we'll continue to watch this nearly stationary frontal boundary as it moves very slowly towards the south, and we could be watching some shower and thunderstorm development here as that front continues to move towards the south as well, feeding up along that front here as we head into the afternoon. But I am expecting majority of those storms to remain mainly to the south of us, however, with cloudy skies that could linger as we head into tonight as well, and a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm possible into tonight. Otherwise, those clouds will continue into early tomorrow morning, with portions of our western communities looking at some light showers before they begin to clear out as we head into early tomorrow afternoon. High pressure is going to settle in here from the north for the rest of the day tomorrow, and that's going to help give us some drier air to work with. That should help erode the rest of the cloud cover, and skies tomorrow looking mainly clear here as well. Meanwhile, current temperatures as you head out the door are mainly into the 60s as you step outside, and highs today will be warming up into the low 80s, but it will be a little cooler thanks to that front that just passed through. Here's a check on your 8-day forecast, and we'll keep those highs mainly into the low 80s over the next 8 days there. Partly cloudy skies for both tomorrow and Thursday. Our next best chance of rain probably coming on Friday. We'll keep our eyes on that, but more so as we head into Saturday. Saturday could be a little bit on the stormy side, so something that we'll be keeping our eyes on carefully for you there. But the rest of the weekend on Sunday looks nice, and looks like we'll see pretty quiet conditions as we head into early next week on Monday and Tuesday as well, with those highs still remaining into the upper 70s to low 80s, and low temperatures mainly into the 50s and low 60s. Stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. We're taking a quick break with a look at what happened on this day in history for June 6th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Blitz. The Loggers began their 2023 campaign on a high note, La Crosse winning 3 straight games out of the gate. But since then, the Loggers have lost 4 in a row. They were looking to put a stop to that skid last night. Let's head to the Lumberyard. Loggers hosting the Rochester Honkers. No score in the third. La Crosse with a man on. Michael Dixon gives one a ride to left, and this ball is going to clear the wall. 2-run shot. Loggers get on the board first. It's 2-0. Top 4 now. Honkers load the bases. Alec Gomez smokes a shot to center. That's going to plate a pair of runs to tie the game at 2. And they were just getting started. Chase Spencer, a little jam shot here to center. That's going to get down for a base hit. Honkers take the lead 3-2. Few batters later, Griffin Sotomayor drives one to right, goes in and out of the glove of Seth Cox. 2 more runs come in and make it 5-2. All Honkers last night as the Loggers dropped their 5th straight, 17-5. Brewers looking to complete the 4-game sweep of the Reds. Cincinnati calling up the number 6 prospect, Andrew Abbott, making his MLB debut. Lefty looking good. He strikes out Christian Yelich in the first for his first career K. Then Stuart Fairchild goes deep in the third to give the Reds a 1-0 lead. And in the fourth, Cincy adds another thanks to Tyler Stevenson's solo shot here. So Wright just gets over the wall. Reds double their lead. It's 2-0. That was more than enough for Abbott. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, just 1 hit allowed. Brewers can't complete the sweep as they fall in the series finale 2-0. Milwaukee's back home today to begin a 3-game set with Baltimore. Bucks will officially welcome their new head coach to Milwaukee this morning. Adrian Griffin will be formally announced as the new head coach of the Bucks at 11 a.m. in the Deer District in Milwaukee. Griffin began his NBA coaching career in Milwaukee, where he served as an assistant from 2008 to 2010. Since then, he has spent time as an assistant with the Bulls, Magic, Thunder, and Raptors, where he spent the last 6 seasons. Griffin also played 9 years in the league from 1999 to 2008. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
The news continues on News 8 Now. Expect more.
Officials say a mother and her young daughter were among the victims of a plane crash in Virginia. The family of Adina Azarian and her daughter, 2-year-old Aria, were on the private jet that crashed in Waynesboro. Officials say 4 people were on board when the plane went down. There were no survivors. The Cessna Citation aircraft triggered an interception by supersonic military fighter jets after it flew over the U.S. Capitol complex before it crashed. Federal investigators are looking into what caused the plane to go down. The search for victims at the partially collapsed apartment building in Davenport, Iowa has ended. Over the past 3 days, search teams recovered the bodies of 3 men who had been missing. Authorities say family members of the victims have been notified.
We will be entering a new chapter, a new phase in the process of working through the aftermath of the collapse.
We don't have any other information at this time that there is any additional people missing.
One of the residents injured in the building collapse has sued the city of Davenport and the building's current and former owners, alleging they knew the building had structural problems and failed to warn residents. For many, the effort to end gun violence starts at the legislative level, but one Madison man is taking more of a grassroots approach, making a new path by getting guns off the street and into the garden.
We're all touched and affected by gun violence to one degree or another.
After years of performing funeral services for those lost to gun violence, retired Pastor Jeff Wild knew he wanted to make a change.
It's a hurt, not only for family and friends, but our entire communities, our entire nation.
So when he found an organization that turns surrendered firearms into gardening tools, it just felt right.
It's grounded in scripture, swords into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks.
For the last 2 years, he's been holding surrender events like this one, taking people's unwanted guns and giving them a new life.
I turn them into either a garden trowel or what's called a mattock. I think of it as a small pickaxe.
Here's how it works. Community members bring in guns that, for whatever reason, they no longer want or need.
Then he said, I'm a hunter, I own guns, but when my brother died, I inherited these AR-15s.
Volunteers then take the weapons, no questions asked, and destroy them. The person who gave up the gun gets a gift card, and Wild takes the pieces home to work his magic.
There you have it.
Once the gardening tools are forged,
they are sold, and for the income that's received on that, that money goes to purchase gift cards for the next upcoming Safe Surrender event.
Wild says he's happy to give people a safe and peaceful way to get rid of their unwanted weapons.
Wild is hosting another Safe Surrender event next Saturday, June 10th from 9 a.m. to noon at Midvale Community Lutheran Church. Parents who talk more to their babies may be improving the baby's brain development. That is in the finding of a new research out of the University of Texas at Dallas. Researchers studied 52 infants using MRI and audio recordings. They were able to demonstrate that the more a caregiver speaks to a very young child, the more likely that child is to perform better when they begin to talk to themselves. Being active for an hour or more per day could lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. Researchers at the University of Sydney found even people with a high genetic risk of developing the condition received benefits from moderate to vigorous physical activity. They say it should be promoted as a major strategy for prevention. Gun violence is considered a serious public health threat in the U.S. Now, a new survey shows teachers are split about whether arming themselves could make schools safer. Astrid Martinez has more.
Gun violence and school safety are top of mind for every community, especially for parents, students, and teachers. Now, a Rand Corporation survey finds 1 in 5 teachers say they would be interested in carrying a gun to school. 20% believe teachers carrying a gun would make schools safer, but 54% believed armed teachers would make schools less safe, and 26% feel either way it would not make a difference.
I think that they're just under a lot of stress.
Emily Rovar is a licensed social worker at Gen Psych. She says teachers today bear a greater burden.
Not only are they teaching our children, they are having to be mental health professionals in a way, dealing with high emotions, dealing with kids in distress. And then in the back of their mind, they always have the thought of what if someone does come in this school.
And while guns are certainly a big worry, the survey shows teachers' top safety concern is bullying. Rovar says social media plays a big role and makes situations a lot worse.
It is something that is really pervasive and it's increasing, and it's something that we need to talk about and do something about.
Her suggestions: increasing the presence of safety officers and mental health professionals in schools, steps that could help students and their teachers feel safer.
The survey found teachers feel it is important to have a system of threat reporting and intervention. Most are confident that safety threats would be reported. If your allergies are flaring up, you're not alone. Smoke from the Canadian wildfires has been drifting into Wisconsin. Mix that with high levels of tree and grass pollen and you have a problematic combination. Pediatric allergist Eric Schwaberger says it's the size of the particles from the air pollution from wildfires that's causing trouble and increasing the number of issues.
Are definitely getting more phone calls from patients reporting that they're having more issues. The pollution will go even further down into the lungs because those particulate matter tend to be even smaller than the pollen. But you can even feel it even of course in your upper airway as well.
Schauberger says older adults and children should also be more careful. Staying indoors when air quality is low can help you avoid those health risks. Speaking of air quality, here's Derek to tell us what to expect in our morning commute.
All right, thanks for that, Sophia. We are tracking showers and a few thunderstorms here this morning across portions of the Coulee region, mainly to our east here. Wood County, you're almost in the clear. A few light, stronger showers there in some spots. Watching some brief heavy downpours there in southeastern Monroe County that continue to track towards the east here this morning. Here's the current check on those current temperature readings right now into the 60s, 68 in Winona, 65 in Eau Claire, just shy of 70 in La Crosse, 63 in Sparta, 66 in Viroqua, and 68 now in Preston. Now the forecast today, mostly cloudy skies, a stray shower or storm still possible. Otherwise, those highs around 83, light east-northeast winds at 5 to 10. For tonight, 58 degrees, and that's pretty seasonable outside. Mostly cloudy, easterly winds light at 5 to 10. Now, as far as your mowing forecast goes here, 69 degrees at 8 o'clock this morning, mostly cloudy, slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm during the noon and 5 p.m. hours today, with those temperatures warming up into the low 80s under mainly cloudy weather conditions. Now, stay tuned. I'll have a check on your full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes. We'll talk about those rain chances, and I'll also let you know how the rest of the week could be shaping out as well.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
That's right. I want to start off with Jackie. She's our only birthday today, and she's turning 88, and she enjoys traveling, bowling, and spending time with her family and close friends.
If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button underneath the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We will be right back after the break.
Well, we continue to watch a few showers and thunderstorms across portions of the Coulee region now. So let's take a little bit of a radar tour, and you can see portions of southern Monroe County looking at some showers and thunderstorms, some heavy downpours here, especially if you're traveling around Highway 12 and near the Wells and Cashin area, looking at some rumbles of thunder currently moving through your neighborhoods. Meanwhile, areas like Mauston, 7 Mile Bridge, and west into Hillsboro also looking at some showers and thunderstorms. Meanwhile, if you're listening from eastern Wood County, Wisconsin Rapids, just north of Saratoga, you are looking at some showers and a few thunderstorms as well in your neighborhood. And lastly, around the 7 Mile Creek and Mauston area, looking at a few showers and storms here just off to your south. And these are all riding up along this nearly stationary frontal boundary that continues to slowly advance its way down towards the south. And we'll get back to that here in a second. But I do want to show you pretty quickly, take a look at your afternoon and evening planner here. We will be looking at mostly cloudy skies around noon today with temperatures at 80 and then 83 and partly cloudy. So we're really not expecting a whole lot of more rain chances after this morning, as most of the activity is actually going to be focused towards the south. You'll see as we head into the afternoon, once we get that daytime heating effect and those showers and storms begin to develop along that frontal boundary, they're mainly going to be focused to our south, while most of the Coulee region looks to be pretty dry here during the afternoon and also into the early evening. Now by tonight, once we lose that heating in the day, those showers and thunderstorms should diminish. However, some cloudy skies, maybe a slight chance of a shower or two, is still possible across portions of the area by tonight. Heading into early tomorrow morning, mainly cloudy skies with a few light showers here across portions of our western communities. I am expecting high pressure to build in from the north from Canada, and that should allow most of the cloud cover and precipitation chances to end here as we head into tomorrow afternoon and also into the evening hours. We should expect some clearing skies for later tomorrow. Current temperature readings are mainly into the 60s. It's just shy of 70 in La Crosse right now, at 68 in Winona. Currently, as you head out the door in Eau Claire, you're at 65 degrees. Our forecast highs today will be warming up into the low 80s here this afternoon. And speaking of low 80s, this is exactly what I'm expecting here throughout the rest of this week, with those highs mainly into the low 80s, and looks like our lows mainly into the 50s and low 60s across much of the area. We're watching a chance of thunderstorms though for Friday and once again on Saturday for this weekend. Well, as the school year comes to a close, it gives school districts an opportunity to do repairs and renovations to the school buildings.
This morning, we have Bangor School District Superintendent David Brockup with us to talk about some of the upcoming renovations for the Bangor Elementary School building, as well as a groundbreaking ceremony being held today. So, David, thank you for being here. What kind of renovations are you doing?
Well, thank you for having me and letting Bangor share this excitement. This summer, we will kick off about a 10 classroom addition on our elementary school on the interstate side of our building. And that will carry through most of the school year next year. And then next summer, we'll do some major remodeling inside the building. So you're adding the 10 classrooms. Are you going to be doing like minor repairs as well? The first stage of the work is the new addition, and then over summer of '24, the entire 1967 portion of our building, the interior portion of the building, will be gutted and completely remodeled.
So the funding for this construction is from a referendum from last fall. So what made you realize you needed to expand that? When we look at our district finances and you looked at the amount of work that needed to be done to our district, it far exceeded what we could do in a regular annual operating budget. So we looked for the referendum and the community support, and we were excited to get that support. So you're adding more space. Are you going to be hiring more faculty? Are you going to be adding more students? We have been incredibly fortunate to have slow and steady growth in our school district, and we're anticipating that slow and steady growth continuing. So we believe we're staffed appropriately for next year, but these referendum projects, when completed, will allow us room to continue that slow and steady growth. And what does the timeline look like for this construction? Or is it expected to be done by the start of the school year? So the renovations will actually start in August. We wanted our students to be a part of the
groundbreaking today. The project will go through March, and we will move into the new classrooms in early April of 2024. The full project will be complete at the elementary school at the end of summer of 24.
So with the new remodel, are you preserving any of the building, or are you just adding on to it?
Again, that 1967 portion of the building is going to get, every square foot will still be there, just going to be drastically redone throughout it. I do think there's some really cool places in the pictures there, the wood walls. We're saving some accent pieces to kind of preserve the history of the building as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I loved the little wood accent.
Yeah, that is pretty neat, yeah. Well, I guess...
what is your favorite part? What are you most looking forward to?
Well, I think as you look at some of the images that have been developed, our schools have been incredibly well taken care of for a long time. Both of our buildings were designed and built in earth tones, and Bangor Pride runs deep, and our new designs will all carry through the Bangor colors, and it will just scream Bangor Pride throughout our facility. So I'm excited to see that.
So you're excited for the renovations, but also today you're going to be celebrating it with all of the students. Can you tell us a little bit about the ceremony happening today?
Yeah, the groundbreaking will take place at 9:30 a.m. on our elementary playground. We'll have our students there as part of it, and welcome in our community, school board, a couple of guest speakers, and just really commemorate this huge event for our district. This is the single largest investment into our school district in the district's history. So we want to make sure that we honor that and celebrate that today.
Do people need to register to be at the groundbreaking event, or can they just show up?
No, community members are welcome to just walk between the elementary school and the middle school, high school, right out to the elementary playground, and you'll find us.
Well, what an exciting time.
It is.
Thank you so much for being here, David. If you want to check out the new renovations, they have their groundbreaking ceremony this morning at 9:30, you said? Well, check it out. I might have to check it out as well. Thank you, David. We will be right back after the break. The search for victims at the partially collapsed apartment building in Davenport, Iowa has ended. Over the past 3 days, search teams recovered the bodies of 3 men who had been missing. Authorities say family members of the victims have been notified.
We will be entering a new chapter, a new phase in the process of working through the aftermath of the collapse.
We don't have any other information at this time that there is any additional people missing.
One of the residents injured in the building collapse has sued the city of Davenport and the building's current and former owners, alleging they knew the building had structural problems and failed to warn residents. An 18-year-old La Crosse man was sentenced to 8 years in prison for his involvement in a shooting. Jackson Greengrass faced multiple charges, including attempted first-degree intentional homicide and felony murder in a shooting last year that killed 15-year-old Storm Vondrashek. The defense and prosecution negotiated a joint agreement for Greengrass's sentencing. Prosecutors stated Greengrass has had a problematic juvenile history and recommended 8 years in prison. 5 of those years would be under supervision. Vondrashek's mother spoke at the sentencing.
I have seen him struggle, and I know that he, regardless of whatever sentence you give him, he has a life sentence that he has to live with, seeing his friend die in front of him. And so I just ask that you take that into consideration.
Judge Gloria Doyle says she hopes Greengrass realizes the consequences of his actions. Under this sentence, Doyle says Greengrass will have an opportunity to live his life and make better decisions. Now more than ever, blood donation numbers are dropping. Experts at Gunderson Health System say the amount of donors has continued to dwindle. About a quarter of the nation's donors are college or high school students who donate at local blood drives during the school year. With school out of session, new donors are needed.
The margin between our blood supply and the demand for blood is so narrow that on any given day we can really struggle to find blood for the people who need it.
Ready?
Dr. Botner added, if this shortage continues, they may have to cancel surgeries, which require a lot of blood to complete. Now that school is out for most of our area, many families must face the reality of summer hunger. 5 out of 6 kids who depend on free or reduced price meals at school no longer have access to that daily nutrition. To help provide food to families in the Cooley region, the Dahl Family YMCA in La Crosse began its annual summer food drive.
that hunger gap for kiddos. 1 in 5 kids does not know where their next meal is coming from, and so with school being out, that is quite the concern of ours. So we want to make sure that we're getting out to all the places in the community.
Grab and go lunches will be available, including sandwiches and fruit, until August 23rd. Up in Eau Claire, there's a new chief in town. Matt Jager was officially sworn in as fire chief at a ceremony. Jager says the ceremony was emotional and he was touched by the support of staff and community. He has served as a firefighter for nearly 25 years. He says he's inspired by the chiefs before him and hopes to continue their mission.
I'm looking to lead with courage and compassion and integrity and honesty, and I hope that they will support me and follow my leadership.
Jager's wife and kids also joined him for the ceremony. He says having his kids alongside him throughout his career was special. Due to the flooding closure of Pettibone Park, the City of La Crosse's Mississippi Melody series for the month of June is moving to the Riverside Park Bandshell. The concert series runs every Tuesday from noon to 1 p.m. The Chili Revolution food truck will be available before the music starts. Today's concert will feature Grumpy Old Men. For more information, you can go to cityoflacrosse.org/parks. We'll post a link on our website, news8000.com.
As you head out the door this morning, temperatures are in the 70s, mostly cloudy skies. Slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm is possible, with temperatures warming up into the 80s by this afternoon and a light east-northeast breeze. Here's a check on your 8-day forecast for the day tomorrow and Thursday. Partly cloudy, highs in the low 80s yet again. Watching for another chance of thunderstorms on Friday, followed by much better chances of thunderstorms on Saturday. Something that we'll watch out for heading into the start of next week, though. We are looking at mixed clouds and sun, highs remaining into the low 80s.
I'm liking the 80s. I like that it's cooling down at night. I can open up my windows. I'm on the second floor. It's been getting too hot, so I look forward to that. But thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching News 8 Now. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com. We will have the latest updates to today's top stories on News 8 Now at noon. Have a great morning, everyone. Thank you for watching News 8.